This is a quick video on how to set up your wideband O2 sensor to display on your ECU for logging and so you could see it as well on your computer. So this guy had an issue. So in order to fix that, you go to analog inputs and you want to select the analog input, which is set for AND volt 5, which is fine. That's a digital input to the ECU, 0 to 5 volts. And that is actually the yellow cable that comes out of the expansion pack of the 3SGTE drop-in board. It's always a good thing to double check on the actual circuit board to make sure the wires correlate correctly, just in case there has been any changes. Now once that's done, you want to set up the function, and he has it set up to lambda 1, which is perfectly fine. He labeled it wideband. Once again, that's fine as well. Or you can be more specific and call it Haltech if you're running Haltech, Innovate if you're running Innovate, or AEM if you're running AEM, which he is, but he has it set to wideband, that's fine. Then you want to select your calibration table. And if you look over here in the help menu, you'll see that calibration tables 4 through 6 are designed for sensors that have a linear output. So it's going to calculate the output from 0 volts to 5 0. You enter your 0 volt and 5 volt values, and it's going to calculate everything that's in between for you because it's a linear output sensor. So on the AND volt 5 error low, that's going to be the minimum working voltage for the channel. You want to have that set to 0. And the AND volt 5 or error high, you want to have that set to 5. So that means the sensor is working between the ranges of 0 volts and 5 volts. Once that's complete, you're not done yet. You have to go and set up your cal table. So cal table 4 is the table that we want to use. So go back to your ECU settings under analog inputs once again and click on cal table 4. Once you click on cal table 4, you'll see 5 options. You have an input value, which you can leave at 0. That's your low, your input A. Your input value B, which is you're going to set to the highest output your wideband sensor is going to be sending to your ECU. So for the AEM, it looks like it's going to be sending a high of 4.25 volts. So at 4.25 volts. And then for the output units, you want to go ahead and set that too. You're going to set that to lambda. That'll give you the correct decimal. And then when you get to the output value A, you want to see what the output is for your ECU at 0 volts. Once again, go back to your user manual, and at 0 volts, the AEM sees a 0.683 lambda. Once that's entered, you want to go down to your output value B, and that's what it's seeing at 4.25 volts. And at 4.25 volts, the sensor is seeing a 1.264 lambda. Now it's important to have this set up properly, otherwise your gauge and your ECU will be displaying completely different values. They may be off slightly just due to the delay between the actual sensor and the ECU, but overall it's going to be pretty safe to run your car like that. And if I go to the compare function, you can see how I have mine set up from one of my old wideband tunes. It's essentially the same. I have using cal table 4. My input value B is 5 volts using a Haltech wideband sensor. The output unit's still lambda, and the real difference is at output value A, I'm seeing 0.680 versus 0.683 for the AEM. And at output value B, I'm seeing 1.36 versus AEM's 1.264. That's about as easy as it gets to set up the sensor, and then you should be able to hook up to your ECU and be good.